Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about mindfulness is not always on. Is that mindfulness is something that we need to intentionally turn on, and there's a process of constantly having to turn it back on when it turns off. So it's kind of, and it is as easy as flipping a switch, but the problem is that you flip the switch to turn it on, and then it automatically turns itself off. And so then we have to go back and we have to turn it back on again. And this topic goes right off the back of mindfulness possibly turning into hypervigilance. So as I talked about that topic last time, what we were kind of assuming with this topic is that as we practice more and more, this mindfulness starts to become more automatic. And in that automatic process of being mindful in our daily lives and in moment to moment, this kind of seamless awareness, that sometimes as we become aware of what's going on, our judgment and our striving kicks in, that we notice things more. And as we notice them, one of the things that may come along with the noticing is this desire for things to be different from how they are. And I think that can get some of us down. And recently I've been studying a bit on these ancient meditation texts, and one of the pieces, one of the things to be understanding in the old texts is the two sides, right? The pleasant and the unpleasant, the clinging to the pleasant, the desire to cling to the present, and the desire to push away the unpleasant, to see these showing up. And that can tend to happen in lots of different areas. So we see something that we may view as negative and we want it to go away. And so this is where the striving comes in. So kind of wishing that this would be different from how it is. The positive thing, hoping that this stays forever, and sometimes being too attached to it, like loving it, and an unhealthy desire for this to stay as it is, even in the knowledge that things are going to be different over time. For example, attachment to the physical body. And that's what I've been working with recently in these texts is about the physical body. So, knowing that this body is going to change. And, I don't think it's a newsflash that a lot of the ways the body is going to change as time goes on is not in a direction that's going to make us happy. Most of what we are, most of what the things that we are attached to about our bodies are things that go away over time. And so as we get older, it can be easier to form aversions towards our body as we become mindful of it. So as we do our mindfulness practice, as we become more and more better and better acquainted with our own bodies, we can find sometimes that this aversion can show up. And just to let you know, these clingings to, hoping that this stays as it is, and these pushing away are both ways that will bring us out of balance. One of the things that is helpful, and I guess I wouldn't even say helpful, crucial for mindfulness practice is this ability to be balanced, the ability to be equanimous, right? So equanimity is this kind of being able to be cool with the situation as it is. It doesn't mean that we don't desire change. It means that we can be not hateful towards ourselves. when we find things that we don't like and that we do want to change, that we can change in a loving way. So, this is what this is part of the practice. And as we notice our aversion, or let me back up a step. As we notice our mindfulness turning into hypervigilance, as we notice striving to be different and judging the situation as it is, we can also bring mindfulness to that. So that's really kind of the core of what was happening last time. And this is because, why is this happening sometimes is because it's as we practice flipping that mindfulness switch on, it becomes easier and easier to flip it back on every time it turns off. And then sometimes as we observe, we notice this automatic judgment or this automatic desire for things to be different from how it is to be popping up. So, and as Jean says, that's why self-compassion is crucial. And in fact, and that's something I mentioned last time, is that you can't exercise self-compassion if you aren't first aware of what you're doing, right? So what I mean by that is that you can't be compassionate towards yourself if you don't see the fact that you're judging. So your mindfulness of your body comes in, you notice the feelings inside your chest, like maybe like, oh, this is anger, and then there's a judgment that maybe comes along with the anger. Oh, I shouldn't be angry right now. I should be more calm, right? And so that should is the judgment. And so seeing that, once we become aware of that, then we can exercise the self-compassion. Well, first exercising the mindfulness, the acceptance. This is here, and it's okay that I'm feeling this right now. I'm feeling this because I'm feeling this, right? We don't even need to drill down any farther than that. Like, this is the situation, and it's okay because it's already here, and this is part of me. My mind has a mind of its own. I don't have control of my mind all the time, and I am okay. I am okay to have this emotion, whatever it is right now. I am okay to have my body in this state. That self-compassion is actually motivating and a driver for change. So mindfulness, although it may be easier and easier to switch on, it isn't always on. And, talking about how mindfulness can become hypervigilance, maybe we go, well, wait a minute, maybe there's something that isn't as good about mindfulness. But mindfulness gives us this ability to tap into what's going on right now, right in this moment, and can help us to, as we see things as they are in this moment, roll out the red carpet, welcome what it is that's here in this moment. We can start to have a deeper understanding of ourselves and reduce harm to ourselves and reduce harm to those who are around me. So mindfulness and attention are two different things. And I think that's important to understand that mindfulness, and I'll use the same definition of mindfulness that I used last time. So mindfulness is knowing what's happening while it's happening on purpose. So seeing what it is that's going on in this moment. So knowing what's happening while it's happening. So it's not something that's assumed. It's not something that, once we've established it, we're just going to have it forever. It's something that we have to keep doing over and over again. And our body is one of the very first things that we can be mindful of all the time. So where are your legs? Where is your buttocks? Where is your back? Where are your hands? Where is your face? As I'm speaking to you, you can have a seamless mindfulness of your own body. And that really is the foundation of our mindfulness practice, is this awareness of body, because there's just so much information inside of this body that we can use to understand ourselves more. So it's not assumed. It's something that we can bring into being over and over again. So what is attention versus what is mindfulness? So attention it can be strong. It can be locked into certain things. We can lock into our worry. We can lock into our planning. We can lock into scrolling. We can lock into our irritation. It can be laser focused, but sometimes it's completely 100% fused together with the story that we're telling ourselves. Mindfulness, on the other hand, includes attention, but adds a layer of perspective. So mindfulness knows thinking is happening. Tightness is here. Judging is here. Worry is here. It's less about the intensity and more about the clarity and the relationship we have to ourselves. So if we can summarize it in one sentence, and I just kind of want to write it here in, let me just cut and paste it and put it in the chat. Attention is what the mind is on. Mindfulness is knowing that the mind is on it. Attention is what the mind is on. Mindfulness is knowing the mind is on it. So it's this additional layer. And again, like we mentioned last time, mindfulness is a skill. Mindfulness is not something that you're born with. It's a skill that you can strengthen with regular practice. So why does mindfulness slip off? It's because the mind is built for efficiency. We have our own habit loops. We go on autopilot. We'll scan for threats. This is something that is just common. And what happens in a lot of the places you'll find the mindfulness drops is in those transitions. Your phone rings. Your phone, the bell dings, right? We're leaving the house. We're starting work. We're getting out of bed. We're going back into we're coming back home. All of these are different places of transition. Interpersonal friction is another place that mindfulness may drop. Sometimes physical situations, fatigue, hunger. Sometimes we feel pressure for time and this kind of compression. And so these are places that it's common that mindfulness will tend to drop. As we start to lose that seamless awareness, then it's easier for us to end up doing things that we're not intending to do. Mindfulness helps us to lock into our intentional selves. Dropping mindfulness isn't a failure. This is the expected default. Like that light switch turns off all by itself. So when you intend to be mindful and you lose mindfulness, understand that this isn't a failure. This is something that is naturally going to be happening. So the practice isn't about staying mindful as much as it is reestablishing the mindfulness. If there is a switch that automatically turns off over some period of time, you'll see that the action isn't the switch flipping off. It's you walking over to the switch and flipping it back on. So that's really that step that is, not only beneficial for you as you go through your day in moment-to-moment awareness, but you strengthen your mindfulness muscle as you keep flipping that switch back on. It becomes easier to flip that switch back on as you get more practiced in doing it. So just understand as well that the fix-it thoughts, the things shouldn't be this way thoughts are common, and they do kind of show up a lot, like things like, I shouldn't feel this, I should be beyond this, why am I still like this, I've been working on this forever, why is this still a bother for me? Phrases that you can use to help yourself are, awareness is not a demand for change. Knowing is enough for this moment. So what we can do during our practice and during this seamless awareness is that can be helpful is just a little bit of labeling to help make more space. So when you notice yourself thinking, you can just say to yourself, thinking. You notice sensations in the body, tightness. It doesn't have to be any more than that. You can notice the judging that shows up and just label it judging. So not to analyze it, not to add anything to it, just to notice that it's there and to be able to bring our mind and our body back. So we'll move into our guided meditation shortly. And again, this practice today, this topic today is just about the understanding, and I guess I just want to make it explicitly clear that mindfulness isn't something that can happen automatically. No matter how experienced of a practitioner you are, no matter you're a monk or you're a person who's been meditating for 60 years, there is still effort required to do that. That this never becomes an effortless process. That this is something that we must work to keep going. And again, it's like, and the muscle atrophies if we don't use it. So this is perhaps motivation why to continue meditating every day, so that we have some strong ability to keep it up. And mindfulness of the body is extremely helpful. I know we do a lot of breath practice in these live events, and so today I just want to shift gears a little bit and do body scan, because I know this can be really helpful. It's helpful for me, and I think it can be helpful for everybody who's here as well, just to be able to get back into the fact that I have a body and that my body is intimately connected to the rest of me. That my forehead shows when I'm having stress. My jaw shows when I'm having stress. My chest shows. And the more we get used to coming back home to this body, the easier it's going to be to return to this body in difficult times and to help us to self-manage a little bit better. So thank you, everybody, for attending here today. Let's go ahead and get into our period of practice. So get comfortable. And as we're doing the body scan today, you may be more comfortable lying down. Although that might put you to sleep. So choose a posture wisely today that's going to help you to practice or support you in whatever way you need. Maybe you're here today because you're exhausted and you want to relax and you want to fall asleep. You can be mindful as you fall asleep. Although, the other thing you can be mindful of during body scan is like if you're focusing on the feeling in your shoulders and then suddenly we're talking about focusing on the feelings in the knees or something, you'll know that you've kind of tuned out or nodded off. So let's start by bringing awareness into the feeling of gravity on the body. So it can be easier sometimes to tune into the sense of touch, where the sense of touch is being activated. I can feel my cushion against my buttocks. I can notice the details of exactly where the cushion is touching, exactly where the pressure is the highest. So that's the kind of attention that I'm asking you to try your best to cultivate. this high degree of awareness, this high resolution attention. And so now on your next exhale, let me invite you to guide your attention to the crown of the head. Noticing the hairs on the head. If you're so fortunate to still have hair on your head. The hair follicles, can you feel? Right now there's a slight movement of air in the room that I can just barely detect on my hairs. Can you notice the scalp? How about the skin on the back of the head? So see if you can cover every square centimeter. Your skin is a huge organ. How about the top of the back of the neck? Let's move to the front of the head, to the forehead. Noticing the skin here. The muscles. Noticing the eyebrows. The temples. Attention to the eyes and the eye sockets. The nose. Air flowing through the nostrils. The cheeks. The left ear. The right ear. The lips. The gums. If you like, you can even touch your gums with your tongue. The jaw. The front of the neck, the soft tissue here, the feeling of air moving through the larynx perhaps. Feeling of blood moving to and from the head. And now let's move our attention to the right arm. So scanning down the right arm, can you notice every square inch of skin in the shoulder? and the armpit, and the upper arm, and the elbow, the forearm, the right wrist, the back of the right hand, the palm of the right hand, the right thumb, the right index finger, the right middle finger, the right ring finger, and the right little finger. Now guiding the attention to the left arm, the left shoulder, the left armpit, the left upper arm, the left elbow, the left forearm, the left wrist, the back of the left hand, the palm of the left hand, the left thumb, the left index finger, the left middle finger, the left ring finger, the left little finger. And now we begin to shift our attention to the torso, to the chest, moving with the breath, the rib cage, the heart inside, the belly rising and falling as we breathe, seeing if you can be aware of every square centimeter of skin on the front side of the body. And now beginning to move to the back. Noticing the shoulder blades, space between the shoulder blades, the muscles of the upper back. And then the lower back. Muscles here as well. Every square centimeter of the back. Noticing the skin, sensations on the skin. And now moving a bit more downwards, noticing the spine and the end of the spine, the tailbone. Noticing the buttocks. If you're not standing or walking, your buttocks is in contact with something, so noticing what that feels like. Noticing the fat in the buttocks. The cushioning between our bones and our skin. And now noticing the front of the pelvis. Noticing the genital region. And now shifting awareness to the right thigh. The front and the back of the thigh, the skin on the outside of the thigh. Noticing the right knee, the back of the knee, attention to the right lower leg, the shin bone, the calf muscle, the skin all around the lower leg. The right ankle, the top of the right foot, the sole of the right foot, the right big toe, the second toe, the third toe, the fourth toe, and the little toe. As best you can, putting your attention in those regions of the body. Now shifting attention to the left thigh. The front and back, the skin all around, the left knee, the back of the left knee, the left lower leg, the shin bone, the calf muscle, the skin all around the left lower leg. And now the left ankle, the top of the left foot, the sole of the left foot, the left big toe, the second toe, the third toe, the fourth toe, and the little toe. And so now let's see if you can bring awareness to your body as a whole. From head to toe, be aware of this body. And can we be intimate with our own bodies? Know our body. And it's the closest physical thing we have. Can you feel yourself breathing? Congratulations, everybody, for making it through today's practice. I'm going to close our practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Congratulations once again, everybody, for making it through today's practice. This is a way to continuously strengthen your own ability to be mindful and to have that seamless mindfulness as we get more and more acquainted with our bodies over time, to be able to see the information inside of our bodies. Mindfulness is not always something on. It's not something that's always on. It's something that we have to establish over and over again. So thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks, Laverne. I guess she's probably left already. Thanks so much for your donation. And thanks, everybody. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Marta. Thanks, Eddie. 10 minutes. Laura says 10 minutes and grounded and more time to relax. Thank you, Gordon. Thanks, Rosamond. It's great to be here. We're going to be doing more body related practices as the day goes on, as the days go on. Just partially because that's what I'm working on these days is more about body awareness. So that's kind of one of the nice things is that whatever I'm working on, that's what I tend to be sharing with you as well. Thanks. Thank you, Jean, for your donation. And, so part of this is non-judging and non-striving, noticing without striving, noticing without judging. And so I'm just kind of putting my course up there in case you haven't, if you haven't taken it. It's worth a look for sure. So mindfulness is cultivated, and let me just repeat this line that I said earlier. It's, what's the difference between attention and mindfulness? Attention is what is on the mind. Mindfulness is knowing that the mind is on it. So this is the difference between these two. So, yeah. I mean, again, why body scan? So what is breath practice? Breath practice is a kind of a more tuned in version of body scan that can be used to help in concentration. And so it can be very helpful, but the thing that helps to make body scan particularly useful is that intimacy with our own bodies, so that we start to become aware of our bodies and the changes that are happening. Really, your body is different in every single moment and of every single day. As you're breathing in, your body chemistry is changing. As you're breathing out, your body chemistry is changing. So this, and all of this, no matter what you believe you are, I think what everyone can agree on is that the you that you experience being is heavily dependent on the state of your body. So, the more that we can get accustomed to our bodies, the more we can understand about ourselves and how our bodies have an effect on us. Sybil says, I'm on my balcony and the breeze has made my body scan richer. The breeze touched my skin gently and constantly, and that certainly can be helpful to become more aware, because you can kind of tune into that sense of touch that's happening. And so that's, thanks for sharing, Sybil. All right. So thanks for joining. Next time we will go deeper into this key foundation of mindfulness practice, the body. So talk more about how we use the body, what information we get from the body, and specifically what is the benefit of using the body as an anchor for your mindfulness. So establishing attention. Mindfulness isn't always on. It's something that we have to establish. So let knowing be enough. One breath can be enough. Let's close our practice as we do with some well wishes to ourselves and to everybody else who's here. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all human beings, everyone, everywhere, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again for your presence. Thanks for joining. And I will see you in 47 hours and 15 minutes. Until then, bye-bye.